You're on.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Sacred Democracy. I'm Maddi Cheers, and I'm very thrilled to be here today with my sister, Celia Kibler. We are talking about kid energy, something I'm sure many of you are experiencing right now. Good, the bad, and the out of control. So I am going to turn it over to Celia. Celia is the founder of Pumped Up Parenting, and she is also a parenting coach, family empowerment coach, and she also has four only wonderful five. Wait, how many children do you have? I asked
Five.
too many. You have two biological children, and then three more that you raised in a blended marriage, right?
Correct.
So, am I good now? And many, many grandchildren. Too many for me to keep track of. So, hi, Seal. Thanks for joining us.
I'm Matt. Thank you for having me. Hello, everyone. Nice to meet all of you and see all of you and talk about this really important subject at this time that we're living in right now, because there's lots of energy going all around, negative, positive, and built-in energy that your kids need to be releasing. So we thought this would be a great, appropriate topic of how we can make our homes a little more positive, a little more less negative, and really get the mental, the physical, the environmental energy all in tune so that we can keep staying calm, enjoying each other's company, and having a good time through all of this. I'll keep talking.
That is the goal. That really is
Okay.
the goal. So when the kids are home, they are great, but now they are home every single day. And one of the things that I think is hard for parents, one of the things that we hear about is that, they're getting tired of being home, but they're also getting more and more afraid. I think the longer that this goes on, the more fearful parents can become about how long will this go on? Will this end up affecting my family? And there needs to be a very conscious decision made. I think people in a household, the adults in a household, that we're going to find a way to keep this fun for kids without getting them too wrapped up in our own fears and our own anxieties.
And that's so true, because uncertainty is stressful. And right now we are all in a world of uncertainty. We don't know what's going on. We are trying to keep everyone healthy. We don't know how long we're going to be in our houses. I mean, granted, we're safe in our houses, but it's out of norm for us. And a lot of us are getting antsy and anxious and want to just go, 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 especially your children. And depending on how your house is set up and what's going on in your house, the environment in your home itself can cause more bad energy than good. So I just want you to think about a few things. And that is like the environment of your home. Is it noisy? Is there background noise on? A lot of people, they turn on the TV in the morning and the TV stays on all day long, regardless of whether someone is watching it or not. So I really encourage you to turn off the background noise. Turn off the TV, because background noise is chaotic. Chaotic environments equal stress for everybody, you and your kids. And if you're feeling stressed, they're feeling stressed. And, if you want something on the background, put on soft music, put on pleasant music that's calming and relaxing as you go through your day. Don't watch the news. The news, we could talk about the news for an hour, probably. Don't watch it. And spend time together. Spend time together. Don't just, everybody be on their phones in their own corners. Spend some time together, talking, eating, all those things, helping around the house, helping each other, preparing meals, all those kinds of things will really create a calm, peaceful environment in your home. Did you want to say something, Maddie? You want me to go on, or are you frozen?
Yeah, and I think that. No, I was going to say something. I think we're having like a little glitchy stuff going on with Zoom, but what I was going to say is that the environment is extremely important. Here at home, it's just me and my husband in the house, in the backyard. But one of the things we have started to do we are fixing up each room now that we have time because we have a lot of it. So we are organizing. We're going room to room. We're dedicating. We started with a half hour. Actually, it's gone to an hour or more every day. But pick one project, one thing that we can get in that time. And I think that's really important. And with your kids, I mean, if you're home with your kids, and I mean, I'm like a kid when it comes to this. I look at organization and I'm like a deer in the headlights, you know. Oh no, but I have Bob, I have my husband, and he helps me through it. And as long as we're doing it together, it's fun. We got blues music on, we got reggae, we got whatever we like together on, you know, and in the background we talk. We and kids love that too. I mean, kids will have a much better time. Maybe you do rearrange the furniture, you know, because it's something to do, you know, and it's something they can help you with. Maybe you need to move things around so the kids can run around the living room if that's the only space you've got in your house where the kids can run around. And some of us aren't fortunate enough to live in big houses, and those are the people that get really stressed out. I've heard from several friends, kids who live in apartments, and it is a challenge. Figure out, well, how am I going to let them get out their energy? There's nowhere we can even go outside near us. So that's, and I also think one of the things I've seen and heard from is people doing art projects with their kids. Carolina Allen, founder Big Ocean Women, home educator and home educator of 7 kids, had a really good suggestion last week where she was like, get to know your kids and don't make every day all day about learning. You know, you're not in school 6 hours a day anymore. You've got 7 days a week where you can teach your kids stuff, where you can actually experience natural learning for both of you, for all of you. So I think it's really a time to take advantage of a lot of the more inspiring styles of education out there, and a time to really get to know your kids while they are somewhat stress-free. I mean, we all know that public school, the way it's set up now, only educates 20% of us. There's so much testing, which we all know scientifically is ridiculous, but still goes on because of what? Money. So I'm not going to get into that today. We will have a whole show on that in more detail. But your kids are actually much less stressed. There was a great post on Facebook the other day about where a college student asked his mom, so what do you remember about the big pandemic? And she says, oh, I remember not being able to get toilet paper and not being able to get food and trying to figure out and on and on. And the kid remembers, oh, I remember going outside and having fun. And I remember being with the family. And I remember, so these are the times to remember with great fondness if you can create that environment for them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, you have schedules and routines.
For watching.
What? Oh, schedules and routines.
I was just saying hi to Joe.
Oh, okay. Schedules and routines are always important. But remember, you all need off days too. So if the day's just not going right, maybe that's the time to say, you know what, guys, let's just have a day free to do whatever we want. Have them make suggestions of what they want to do. You know, give ideas. Let's go do this, Mom. Let's go do this, Dad. You know, and just have a fun day. My grandkids, my daughter, they're having a spa day today. You know, their own little created spa day where they're, you know, doing facials on each other and they're doing their nails and all stuff. You can have all kinds of theme days. And your education, since we're on the topic of homeschooling, if you're going to, you know, do a specific topic, it can actually relate to different things. You know, math, there's math everywhere. Everywhere you can find something. You can play card games with math. You know, sequencing is math. You can set up things, an apple, an orange, a potato, an apple, an orange, a potato. What comes next? The apple. And set up things like that using stuff you have at home for your kids to help them with math things that are just simple and fun. There's all kinds of ways you can interrelate learning to fun and activities that they don't normally do because of limitations in school, because there's 20 kids in a class.
Right.
So the other thing,
and exactly.
Go ahead, Maddi.
No, well, that's
water.
exactly it. Is that, there, you have to get exercise, setting up funny obstacle courses in your house, making funny masks. I mean, there have been a lot of great things that I've seen on the internet, but also the relaxation time I think is really important. I think that guided meditation is a really fun thing. We do a guided meditation in our program, when we're trying to get kids to do an art project, when we do the Plains Indian program, where we have them visualize walking through a beautiful field, climbing up a beautiful mountain, getting to the top, seeing if what they see at the top of the mountain, is there an animal there that comes to them? There are all kinds of guided imagery things that you can do with your kids that will help them relax, especially at the end of the day, and that will allow them to use their imagination. And if you do a guided imagery trip somewhere, then have them draw it, and maybe you draw it too. That's what I mean, is that art is it's so calming, it's so relaxing. There's something called mandala meditation that I practice myself, where you start with a circle in the center, and you just go out from there. You just keep drawing and drawing in a circle, and not only can you create something beautiful, whether you're an artist or not, but just that act of drawing in a circle is very calming. And that for kids is also a lot of fun. Any kind of patterning is really, really fun.
Absolutely. And the other thing I want to mention is your time with your children. So you want to make sure that you're spending time with your kids. You're playing with them. You're having game time, movie nights, things like that. But if you have more than one child, more than just spending time with them all together, you want to make sure that you're spending time with them on a one-on-one basis. Every child in a family wants to know that they are important to you, with or without their siblings. And if you have a new baby, if you have other kids, don't force them to be together all the time during this time that we're all together all the time. Give them a break. Let them have quiet time. Let them have alone time. You spend one-on-one time with one child while the other goes to read. 10 or 15 minutes of your one-on-one time with your child is all they need to help them feel comfortable and secure, and not need more of your attention, and have the ability to go play on their own. So really separate them, spend that unconditional, uninterrupted time with them, and show them that they're each as important to you individually as they are all together.
Right, exactly. And I mean, that's what we're talking about, the good, the bad, and the out of control. And what we want to do is keep it from getting so bad. There's going to be bad times. Let's face it. There's going to be those moments that we're all going to have to get ourselves back into control. So there's techniques for that. I know that, Celia, you posted something on your page today that I thought was really interesting about the
smell the flower.
Right.
Blow out the candles.
The breathing exercise.
Teach little kids to breathe, because if you say to a little kid, "Okay, we're going to breathe," breathing is like it's like a concept. It's not like we're going to use this pen. We're going to breathe. Well, don't you do that all the time to survive? Clearly. But if you're able to give them a vision, a something to think about, and they hold up a finger and they imagine that this finger is a flower, they can smell the flower. That gets them to breathe in through their nose. And then they can blow out not just one candle, all the candles. Because if you blow out one candle, you'll blow like this. If you blow out all the candles on your cake, you blow longer. So you want them to breathe in through their nose by smelling the flower and blow out the candles. And then this little thing right here can become a secret code between you and your child. When things get tense, if they notice you're getting a little tense, they can hold up a finger and you let them know that that's okay. You're not going to get insulted. And then it's a trigger, it's a signal to you to say, oh, Mom, you're looking like you're a little tense. And then you can do the same for them. So if they seem like they're stressing out, hold up your little secret sign. Nobody else has to know what it is. And all of a sudden they'll stop and they'll take a breath and breathe. Right. Because if you breathe 3 or 4 times, if you do it right now while you're watching us, you will feel your entire body relax.
Really. And you know, from Chinese medicine, from Qigong, you want to breathe way down into your belly. That's really important, that you get that, you take that deep breath. If you put your hands on what in Qigong is called your dantian, but it's, you know, about 4 fingers below your belly button, and you take that deep breath and nothing happens, you're breathing too shallow. You want to breathe way down. So, and for kids, that's fun because you tell them, okay, make your hands move, breathe in, push your belly out, you know, and then breathe out. And a lot of times that gets really funny. We used to play a game when we were kids. I don't know if you guys play this, but out there, younger humans, but when we were kids, we used to do ha-ha. And ha-ha is where you lay on the ground, one person puts their head on that lower area, on that lower belly area, and everybody's like on the with their head on each other's belly, and then the first person goes ha, and the next person goes ha ha, and then the next person, and by the time you bounce each other's heads up and down, you've learned how to breathe deeply and you're laughing, which there's nothing better to relieve stress than laughing. That's the best thing you can do.
Exactly. And like you can also tell kids when they breathe in, do they feel the balloon growing in their belly? Because when they breathe in, their belly should expand, so the balloon blows up. Breathe out, let the air out of the balloon. And like Maddi said, you can feel your stomach expand and release with each breath. So that's another good image to, you know, feed your children when you're talking about breathing. And the ha-ha game is a blast.
Great. It's a blast. And the whole family, fun for the whole family.
Fun for the whole family.
The other thing you can do, right. The other thing you can do with your guided imagery is you can write your own guided imagery, have your kids write. So now you're getting that writing in, you're getting that story created in, or draw if they don't draw, and then have your kids, if they've drawn something or written a guided imagery, have them guide you, and then you guide them. And that's the kind of thing that can really relax everybody, but can also bring us closer together. And it's fun. It's fun to do. It's teaching and learning without calling it teaching, and learning without calling it school.
Exactly. And releasing the energy, guys, if you do not release your child's energy, they will be irritable and fussy all day. Kids have natural energy and it has to come out. Plus, they won't sleep well. If they're not tired, if they're sitting in front of a TV or they're sitting in front of a video game all day long, they are not getting tired enough to sleep. So they're not going to sleep because there's no release of energy going on. So if you don't allow your child to release energy, you can put on music and dance. You can have a freeze dance. You can do follow the leader. You can go outside and run. If you have steps in your house, you can go up and down your steps. If you have, have different rooms in your house, even if you don't have different rooms in your house, if you live in like a big apartment without too many rooms, you could go on a scavenger hunt. And what's great about a scavenger hunt in your home is not only is it fun, and you can find all kinds of things for them to collect, but they're constantly moving. Yeah, they may not be running from place to place, but they will be moving for a long time and not just sitting. And you can even have them help create a scavenger hunt, or maybe every kid in your family, every adult creates their own scavenger hunt, and you do one a day or you do a couple a day. So a great way to keep kids moving and
Right.
releasing that energy.
It's so interesting to me. Texas just did a study. I think this came out like a year ago, where miraculously they found that kids with ADD were doing so much better because they started in this experimental program. They instituted 3 recesses a day, and they went, wow, the kids that have had ADD, look, they're sitting, they're learning, they're doing this. We had 3 recesses a day. We had morning recess, we had lunch recess, we had afternoon recess. That's the way school used to be, because we were much more intuitive about how to teach and be with our children. And so this is such a precious time when we all, as a country, parents, teachers, everybody, can start rediscovering new ways to teach our children, real ways, things that are individualized, where we can start thinking about how are we going to carry this over? How are we going to bring this when our kids go back to school? How are we going to bring what we've learned in this quarantine about how to educate our children? How are we going to keep that in the public sector, in the public school? What do we have to do? We should be writing everything you discover out there, parents, you're doing with your kids. You should be writing down, and then you should be writing it to your Congress people. And I'm going to say this again, because I say this all the time. You should be voting. And I'm not just saying that for the obvious reasons, but I will tell you this. If you don't vote, you cannot be an advocate. If you write to your Congress people or your president or your local officials, if they look up and they don't know who you voted for, but they will see if you voted. And if they see that you have not voted or you are not a registered voter, delete your emails, going right in the trash. They're not even going to spend the time with you. So if you haven't already registered to vote, if you haven't been voting, please remember that if you really want to have an impact after this is all over, with all the things we are all learning about changing our value system, about bringing it back to family, and about including everybody in the family, that these things really need to be brought to the forefront, because when all of this is, things are going to be very different, and we're going to have to demand that people recognize, here's what we learned. Here's what we learned. And we want you, our representatives, to acknowledge us as the people. This is what this is what we've learned. And if you're not willing to do that, we're not willing to vote for you.
Yeah, and getting back to what you're doing with your kids, also, this is a great time to really observe and tune into your child and really discover what their passions are. Absolutely. And what they love to do. And when you find that out, you can actually dive into that deeper. If you find out your child really loves, maybe you didn't know that your children love octopus. Maybe they love to look at the octopus. They love sea life, and you never realized that before. You can start developing that. Tune in, find out what they love to do.
Because you never had the time to be with them.
Right, because you haven't had this precious, precious time that is a gift, guys. This is a gift. The other thing I want you to remember is I want you to really recognize what you're saying, what words you're speaking. Are you using your manners? Do you smile when you talk? Are you using the beautiful words in your language instead of the ugly ones? Because those words that are coming out of your mouth are going to be the words that are going to come out of your child's mouth. And it's going to set the tone for the day. All those, I've said it before, and I know, Maddi, you've repeated it. 60% of communication is nonverbal. So if you're rolling your eyes, if you're speaking in a tone that's very aggressive, if you're looking at your phone while you're talking to your kids, they're going to think you don't really care what they're saying, and you don't really care about us because you're too busy on your phone. Mm-hmm. So your words, Your nonverbal
Right.
communication is so important, especially at a time like this when they're around you so many hours a day. Did you want to speak, Maddi? I know you're
Yep. And I
thinking.
mean, it's really a time to raise your consciousness, to raise everybody's consciousness. This is really the gift we have been given. This virus is the gift of raising consciousness, to really think about what's important in the world, to really find your spiritual center. Find your spiritual center with your kids. And when we're talking about spirit, not necessarily talking about religion, although person, it's a wonderful time to talk to your kids around your religion, but it's also a wonderful time to go deeper in yourself, to allow your children to go deeper in themselves, to, especially if you have older kids, if you've got teenagers, to talk about this. What are we more conscious of? Job do you want? What kind of world do you want to see after this? What you want your purpose in life to be? There's all kinds of conversations that can be had with teenagers, would normally want to escape you, but they can't, other than going into their room. And I think we approach it correctly. I mean, I remember when I was in high school, I remember I was very fortunate to have a class in the humanities. You know, there's so much that is being left out of high school right now, so much great literature because National Discussing Core Curriculum, a lot of great literature has been pulled out of high school. And so we have an opportunity to introduce that to your teenage children so that they can see, their imaginations can be sparked. And you have an opportunity. When I was in high school, I took a course called the Humanities. And I mean, you know, we were very fortunate. So we had a big library. We had classes that were electives if you had a certain grade level. So there were only 8 people in that class. We got to sit around in the library and lay around in the library. But we read books on philosophy. Siddhartha was one of them, and that I remember distinctly, that about the Buddha, and that you can read these books with your children, discover things you never knew about, and then sit and talk with them. I will tell you, there was no experience in my life than being able to sit with a adult and have a discussion and have them treat you like you actually mattered, opinion actually to them. We had the Baltimore Free High School back then. You cut, and not really a cut if you went down there. And that's where I was introduced to the book Black Elk Speaks. And that book literally changed my life, though not right away, but eventually I became involved with American Indian cultures. And that book was the beginning of it. My interest in that, my interest in world religions. There was so much that was sparked in the way we got to go to high school. And right now it's really geared toward what job you're going to get. You know, you got to be able to write a business document. There's almost no fiction studied in high school right now. This is your opportunity to introduce those things to your teenage kids.
And touching on that, and then I want to tell you guys one of the best things you can start incorporating into your family right now to build respect to each other. But I'm reading, you know, it, like Maddi said, it's really fun. Your kids are never too old to read aloud to. And, you know, you can take turns reading if your kids know how to read, and one can read one page and one can read another, and you can each read a page. My son Kyle, when he was in 7th grade, he got a textbook that was written in this very difficult Old English type of language. And we used to sit there every night, and I would read a page and he would read a page, and I would read a page and he would read a page. And then we go over the questions. And it was great because, number one, I understood completely what he needed to know. And, you know, I could help him with his comprehension of it. Number two, it was great to do this together. Just the two of us have this time together. And number three, I found interest in things that I was not interested in back in high school. So, or junior high, or whatever it's called now, middle school. But, you know, it's a great thing to do with your kids. You can have your own family book club. Everybody reads the same book. And then you have a book club and you talk about each chapter and things like that. But, you know, reading is so great because it gives you individual time. You can have family time. And, you know, it takes you in where we can't go anywhere right now. Takes you to places you've never gone before. It's full of adventure.
And even young people are now, I read an article a couple of months ago about young people want books back. They want paper books. They like the feel of having a book. They're tired of reading on a screen. And as we all know, for our eyes and the sake of our eyes, we shouldn't be reading on screens.
Exactly.
So this is a truly wonderful thing. And if you do that thing where you take a chapter a week in a book, if you're going to have your family book club, then you have the chapter your day, your son gets it this day, your daughter gets it that day, so that by the end of the week, you guys can all come together and discuss the chapter and continue with the book. Nobody's suggesting that you go out there and buy a book for everybody in your family. There's certainly other ways around that.
Exactly. And you can even have a neighborhood book club. Say there's a book list that you know that is a book that everybody has, you know, where you can see, you know, you can email people or message people. I've got these 4 books. Does anybody have these books? You know, or something that you know they're reading in school right now. Then you can have a neighborhood book club. You can hop on Zoom like we're on right now, and you can all talk together and have a neighborhood book club.
Exactly.
But I want to let you guys know one super important tool that works like no other that you can start incorporating today into your family. And I really encourage you to start doing this on a weekly basis, and that is the family meeting. You know, just like any organization, a family needs to come together. They need to hear each other. They need to, you know, go over problem areas. Now, a family meeting, I'm going to just go over this quickly, but you can reach out to me. You can go to Pumped Up Parenting on Facebook. There's all kinds of ways to find out how to do a family meeting. But right now, I just want to give you the basis, and that is it should last no longer than 15 to 20 minutes. This is not an hour board meeting. This is a quick little let's all get on the same page and catch up with each other meeting. It should always be, as much as it can, the same day, the same time every week. You should have snacks, refreshments. It is fun and relaxing. And if you have older kids at first, they might think, what are you talking about? We're having a family meeting. But once they participate in the first one, and they realize that this meeting gives them the opportunity to not just be seen, but to be heard and have their suggestions be implemented into the home, they'll be like, you mean you really do care about what I have to say? It is going to make a huge difference in your home. And honestly, if you guys want like the layout for a family meeting, you know, the schedule, the agenda, reach out to me. Celia at CeliaKibler.com or PumpedUpParenting.com, and I will send you the agenda for it, because this is a great time to do this. You're all home. Get started this week. Make a promise to do your first family meeting.
Yeah, and craft project. You can make talking sticks. You can make talking sticks. You can go out in the yard, get a stick, decorate it. You can do Celia's famous toilet paper roll decorating.
That's right. We got lots of toilet paper.
Paper towel roll decorating. Give yourself a start. Have each family member make a talking stick, and every time you have a family meeting, use somebody else's talking stick. So this way, you see who's talking. You know they've got that stick in their hand for as long as they need it. They pass it. You've listened to them. They're going to be quiet. They're going listen to you. It's conflict resolution. It's a way of ensuring people really felt heard. And talking stick, one of the greatest things ever given to us by Native people. So, Celia, we're going to wrap up. I'm going to stay on. We have a couple of words. I want to give the ending of this section of today's program to you to see if there's anything else you feel like adding in.
No, that was it. I just wanted
close. You repeat your contact info one more time so everybody can get a hold of you after this brilliant advice.
Okay, so you can reach me by email at celia@celiakibler.com. You can join, please, our Facebook group at Pumped Up Parenting. It is a public Facebook group. There is a business page, but the Facebook group is much more interactive and full of great ideas and fun. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, all those other things. And our website is pumpedupparenting.com or celiakibler.com. And I'd love to meet you. Send me a message. Love to hear from you.
Thanks, Celia. Thanks so much for joining us today. I really appreciate your taking the time.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I wanted to continue today addressing something that I found very disturbing that happened this week. Dan Patrick, the Lieutenant Governor of Texas, suggested that grandparents should be willing to give up their lives for the good of the American economy. That his suggestion was that we all have to go back to work with this coronavirus stuff, and since it's affecting the older people more, they should be willing to make the sacrifice for the younger people. Now, let me tell you, there is nothing I would not do. I would lay down my life for any one of my nieces, nephews, grandnieces, grandnephews, any one of them. But the statement that truly disturbed me, what he said was, we have to do this for the America that all Americans love. Where have you been for the last 4 years? We are a country divided. Not all Americans love the way America is now. I would be willing to lay my life down for a new America, not going back to the old one after this, but moving forward to an America where everyone's voice are fair to everyone. Everybody is equal under the law. I want to move forward, lay down my life, America, where corporate greed does not rule our lawmakers, where no corporations, no businesses are allowed to even contribute to a campaign, where we outlaw lobbying, so that the influence that is going on in our government right now by all these greedy people disappears, and that we know that the laws that are being made are really in our interest. I would be willing to lay down my life to see that my children and grandchildren brand new education system, a public education system where they are really being taken into consideration, where we are educating each child individually, and where each community has the opportunity to get an equal education, no matter what their income level is. Right now, that is not happening. It is obscene that we base public education on property taxes. I would lay down my life for an enlightened, inspiring public education system. That's what I want to see come out of this. I would lay down my life, absolutely, for America where everybody got equal justice, where everybody was equal under the law. That is not happening right now. We know that is not happening. And I would lay down my life to see the heroes of today that are saving our life, our healthcare workers, our grocery workers, our police, our firemen, our EMTs, all of these people that our sanitation workers, all these people doing the jobs that we don't want to do. I would lay down my life to see them paid what they're worth. There have been some great posts about how we're doing just fine without multi-million-dollar sports players and actors. So where are these people? I would lay down my life for an America where people stop talking about not being greedy and started acting like they weren't greedy. You've got people with billions and billions of dollars willing to spend it to get themselves and the people they like into office because we have a corrupted government right now. but they're not willing to go out there and give those billions of dollars to the hardworking Americans who can't go to work, who have families to support. They want us taxpayers to foot that bill, to go into debt. Where's your altruism? I would lay down my life to see the next generation raised to not just think that the goal in their life is to get more and more and more, but to realize that, you know what? There's such a thing as enough. There's such a thing as sharing. There's such a thing as recognizing the wisdom of your elders. My Italian sister, when I posted that article on the Lieutenant Governor, Dan Patrick, saying that, my Italian sister sent me a saying from Italy about how there is no more important family member than the elders. The Haudenosaunee say that we have to make decisions based on how they affect the next 7 generations, listening to the wisdom of the previous 7 generations. We have not done that. To lift EPA regulations when we're watching the waters clear up, when we're watching the air clear up, to lift these regulations to allow companies to pollute again without any punishment, without any penalties, is unconscionable. That is not thinking of the next 7 generations. And I would lay down my life, believe me, if we would make the decision to think 7 generations into the future based on the wisdom of the 7 generations in the past. That's the America that I want to see. An America that is moving forward, that is considering equality, equal justice for all, for where everybody gets to have a life where they have liberty and where they get to pursue happiness. That is the goal. The goal is that we all get to pursue happiness, that we all have liberty and justice for all. That is the goal of America. I don't want to go back to the America that lost its way. That's not the America that we all love. The America that we all love is that ideal that everybody has equal opportunity, and no one can have equal opportunity until we have equal education and we have equal justice. So yeah, I will give up my life for that America, but I'm not giving up my life for the corporate greed America, for big pharmaceutical companies that are determining which medicines we get and are determining who gets them, that are not even doing research into diseases that won't benefit them, that won't give them a profit, that are not even listening, that won't even consider an FDA that's in cahoots with big pharma, that won't even consider all these. There are all kinds of cures that have been going on in indigenous cultures and in cultures throughout the world, in Europe, Australia, that we don't even look at because big pharma can't benefit from it. I will lay down my life for an America where people come first, where we, the people, come first, where our leaders put us before themselves. That's the America I'm willing to die for, Mr. Patrick, not yours, not going back to an economy based on corporate greed and inequality and based on who gets opportunity, gets a drug, who gets a voice. Everybody's voice needs to be heard. Everybody needs to with an opportunity to have a better, peaceful, happy life. So that is it for me today. I am so glad you all joined us. I love you all, and I wish you all peace and health and happiness as we go through this difficult time. And I hope you all find support and joy and whatever you need as we all struggle through this together. But the good news is we are all in this together, and we can all come out on the other side better than we went in. Thank you so much for listening. And thank you, Bobby. And thank you, everybody at Strong Island Radio and Strong Island Entertainment, and to my whole family, all of them, and all of you out there in the world. Peace. Thanks. Bye.